Alright, here we go. Welcome back to the Game Smash Podcast. As always, I'm your host, William Liberty, and with me is...
Was Muhammad Yusuf.
And today we got some stuff. We got Final Fantasy 15 delayed. We got Titanfall 2 gameplay. We got Harley and Deadshot trailer. Fallout 4 Nuka-Cola trailer for the DLC. Metal Gear Survive. And new Overwatch map and short. But before we get into that, let's talk about what we played this week. So obviously played some more SMT. I got to a point in the game that is really fascinating because the story seems to be going pretty normal overall. Oh. There's a couple of weird moments, but then you get to this point and it's like, wait, what? And it's like a revelation kind of deal, right? But no, it's a good revelation. It's not like a, oh, this is stupid, right?
Okay.
This is like, wow, this is really interesting because it completely changes your perspective on the world up to that point.
That's pretty cool.
And I really enjoy it. And the game becomes a lot more different because your limit, like, up to that point, it's more like linear JRPG, right?
Yeah.
Whereas when you get to this point in the game, you have a lot more freedom to where you want to explore and whatnot. So I find that really, really cool. I'm like I said, I think last time, I'm glad I bought the DLC because it's a lot easier to grind in the game, to get levels.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, pretty good game. I also went back to XCOM 2.
Oh.
Played some more. Downloaded a bunch of new mods for customization because I've noticed that I've spent 40 hours of gameplay just in the customizer and 20 hours playing. Because, like, that's the thing, and I feel like it kind of sucks, because, like, I know I'm a scrub, and I don't play Iron Man, but it's like, I get too attached to my custom characters, and it's like, please don't die. No, I gotta reload a save. You died for some bullshit reason. But I had a lot of fun with that. I got to experience some of the new enemies in the game. There's, because the DLC, I haven't downloaded the Spark DLC, but I downloaded the Alien Hunters one. And they did add a couple of new units other than the bosses. Like, there's a different snake type that has a more powerful gun. And there's also the Advent Troopers sometimes come with little drones now that, when you're concealed, will explore the map and try and find you. Because like when you're concealed in that game, you can usually predict where the enemies are going to move, so it's really not hard to avoid enemies. But these drones add another layer where they're actually searching on their own. Like, so it's interesting. I actually really like it. I think it's cool. I had a lot of fun with that, but that's basically what I played this week. What about you, Fawaz?
Okay, so I've got a funny story for you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I decided, as you probably know at this point, I don't really play Hearthstone that much anymore. You know, like, I've been falling out of love with the game for a while, and then but, you know, every now and then I'd come back in to play Handlock, which is, like, hands down my favorite deck in the game.
Yeah.
But then, you know, Blizzard in their infinite wisdom decided to nerf the shit out of Handlock, so once they nerfed Handlock, I pretty much stopped playing. But anyway, this new hunter deck became a thing. It's like some secret hunter deck. And here's the thing about me, and these are the kind of decks that always attracted me to Hearthstone. Is the decks where, like, every single card interacts with every other card. There's like a good amount of synergy.
Yeah.
I've always loved decks like that. I mean, those decks usually end up being overpowered too, but hey, you know, hold these nuts. So what's this thing called? So when that hunter deck came out, I was like, cool, let me try it out. And I was messing around with it, and it was going pretty well. I was just, you know, slowly climbing the ladder. I think I'm like rank 12, which, I mean, isn't very high, but bear in mind, I hadn't played this game in 3 months, so I started at rank 22. So yeah, I made it to like rank 12 in like 2 days. So that's that, you know.
Pretty solid.
Then today I signed in and I'm like, okay, let me because I have a bunch of quests for a bunch of decks I don't even play, right? So there's some quests I'm like, you know, I used to play Shaman. Let me play some Shaman. So I bust out my Shaman, mid-range Shaman deck. I'm playing online. I'm beating the shit out of this priest. Like, I'm beating the shit out of him. And then, like, turn 10 comes, and he plays Yogg, and I lose.
Yeah!
I deleted the game.
Praise you! Oh my God, you're so.
I wasn't like the funny part was I wasn't even angry. I wasn't even angry. I was just like, cool, I'm done. That's it. I can't be bothered anymore. Like it was a casual game. Honestly, like I said, I wasn't even mad. That's the funny part is that I was just like, okay, the game
Okay,
finished.
that sounds like
Finished.
that.
Just shut the browser down and I just threw it
Oh,
in my garbage.
oh my
Yeah.
God, that sounds like I'm not mad. I'm not mad as you're slowly punching the monitor screen. There's something on my screen. I'm just trying to clean it. You know.
But that's it. No, like, here's the thing is that I wasn't even upset because I mean I've lost to RNG before. It's Hearthstone, you know.
Yeah, like...
They'll top deck an animal companion and then roll Huffa. Like I can't count the number of times I've lost to that. Right? I've lost to RNG before. But for me, I was just like, because here's the thing was that I was just playing the game because I had nothing else to do. Right?
Right.
And I was like, if the game is going to be doing this kind of shit to me, even, when I'm not, this isn't me, like focused on the game like I am with like Overwatch's ladder or something. This is me just, playing something casually and trying to have fun. And you're going to hit me with this bullshit? That's cool. I'm done. So yeah, I'm officially done with Hearthstone. That's pretty much, that's
Can I have your account then? Because I want your cards. I wish there was a way that's like, I'm done with Hearthstone. Cool. Can I have your cards? But there's no real way to do that.
Honestly, if I could give you my cards, I would. I don't see myself ever going back to that game again. At least not until that Yorkshire on card gets cycled out.
Well, I mean, like it eventually will be. Like
that's like 2 years from now. Yeah. So yeah, I'm probably never going back to Hearthstone. The other thing that happened this week, it was really funny. Remember how I swore off buying games retail, right? Buying games digital.
Yeah.
So I've been in Dark Souls 3, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get Divinity because I've really been eyeing the game for a while actually, and I would have bought it when it came out in October, but Fallout 4 was coming out in November, and I was like, both of them are time sinks. I'm only gonna get one, and I was like, well, I know Fallout, right? So I'll just get Fallout instead. But yeah, so I went to the EB Games and they didn't have it. The only location that had it was Orleans, and I live by the airport. And for those people who are listening that don't live in Ottawa, it takes an hour and a half to get to Orleans from where I live.
It's far.
So I was like, I'm not traveling 3 hours for one video game.
Yeah.
So fortunately, I looked on the PlayStation Store and it's on sale for like $25 there, whereas it would have been $40 at the Orleans EB Games. However, this does bring me to one issue that I do have with buying games retail is that sometimes the stores just don't have them. I had to travel around Ottawa to buy the retail version of Devil May Cry 3 HD Collection. Yeah. I actually just gave up on finding Guilty Gear and just bought that digital because I was like, I went into the store and I was like, I'd like to buy Guilty Gear, please. And they said, what is Guilty Gear?
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like that's the shit you get after.
And I was like, obviously I'm fishing in the wrong pond here. So I guess I can't completely swear off digital because some of these retail stores are just like sometimes you run into these shitty situations where you just have no choice but to buy digital, and it's probably for the best. I'm a fat lazy guy who doesn't like standing up to switch games, so the more games I have digital, the better. But that's what I played this week.
Nice. What do you think of Divinity so far?
I haven't bought it yet.
Oh wait, what? So didn't you just say you bought it digitally?
No. I'm planning on buying it digital.
Oh, okay, all right.
The sale is until the 22nd, so I'm gonna sit down and think about it, make sure this is actually what I want. I'll do a little bit more research because, like, prior to this, my research was trying to find a place that actually carried the game.
Yeah, carried the game. Yeah.
Now that I've actually found the game, I'm like, okay, cool. Well, let me make sure I actually want this game.
Just so you know, if you do pick it up, I do have a copy as well that I bought a while ago.
Oh, we can do co-op.
Yeah, we could do co-op, and that would be fun.
Okay, sure. Right. I'll let you know.
Okay, but cool stuff. But I guess we'll get into some news. Stop the presses. Final Fantasy 15 got delayed.
Oh my God.
And it only really got delayed by a month. It's November 17th, I think.
No, November 29th.
Oh, 29th. Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm kind of surprised it took this long. Like I was feeling it. I was kind of feeling it that it was probably gonna get delayed. But I'm not exactly. No, I'm not. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not exactly happy about this.
Obviously.
But I'm like, like it's the same thing that happened with No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky got delayed by a month or two,
Yeah.
and then that came out, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll be concerned if by November they're starting to get antsy, and then it's like, you guys, seriously, you can't delay it again. You can't. This game needs to come out this year. You can't do this to me. But I don't know. What did you think of the delay?
I just found it hilarious. Honestly, like the game, like even if it gets delayed another time after this, I still like I'm not worried. The game is coming out. Like
Right.
we've seen too much gameplay, and it feels like they are too far into development at this point for this game to just never come out. You know, to put like a
Yeah.
half. This isn't like a Half-Life 3 situation. You know.
Yeah.
So like I'm sure the game is coming out at some point. So when I saw the delay, I laughed. I was like, people are probably panicking right now. But honestly, like if I was looking forward to Final Fantasy 15, I pretty much this would just be my mantra. I waited 10 years for this game. I can wait 2 more months. That's
Yeah.
pretty much it.
That's pretty good.
And at the end of the day, the idea is that they're delaying it to polish it, right? And I'm like,
Right.
I'm fine with that. You know me, I'll release the game a year late if it means that the game launches
properly. Yeah.
Yeah. Like pretty much. Yeah. Nothing else to say about that. Yeah. Delay the game as much as you want. But here's my own thing.
Yeah.
Don't just keep delaying the game. Like now that you've said November. Like okay, when you are like okay, the game isn't coming out September. That's fine. Shit happens, right?
Right.
Now that you've told us that it's coming out in November, when November is coming close, don't now tell us that, oh yeah, we're delaying it. I know which kind of contradicts what I said at the start of this. It's just that it's not a good look when you keep delaying games, and it starts to develop animosity.
I feel like everyone gets one. You can go like, all right, guys, we got to delay the game by a couple months or two. That's fine, right?
Yeah.
But then if you go, okay, we need to delay it a couple more months or whatnot, right? Then it gets a little like, okay, seriously, guys, like if you didn't think you could do it in the first 2 months, then you clearly couldn't do it now. So it's like, but I think it's like, all right, strike one. Now let's see if they do it in November and give us a strike two. We'll have to see. I'm hoping not, because honestly, I don't want this game to come out too close to Persona. Because I'm not going to be able to juggle these two games. Like, like that's the other thing that people are saying, that it's kind of for the JRPG crowd, which apparently I'm part of now. They have been saying that they like the fact that Final Fantasy 15 and Persona 5 are kind of like a bunch of months apart, and the fact that now it's getting closer is a little antsy, because obviously this is like a 50-hour game at the least.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. So hopefully it hits its November. I mean, it's pretty much a December release date, November 29th.
Yeah.
Might as well be December.
Might as well be December.
If it hits its December release date, then you have 2 months to beat it, to clear it up before what's this thing called?
Persona 5.
Before Persona 5 launches in February. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's nothing too crazy. But yeah, don't. Be careful.
Be careful, guys. That's all we can ask. Next on our list, we got some really cool stuff. Titanfall 2 gameplay, a shit ton of gameplay just got.
Oh my god! So do you want to go first?
Sure. They showed off a bunch of multiplayer stuff. The mechs and I love just the wall running. I love the wall running and the jumping and the sliding. It flows very well, and it just looks really awesome. It looks awesome. It's awesome to look at, and it probably is amazing to play. Like,
oh my god, it's so okay. So funny story to all you people listening to this podcast. We would not record this podcast today if it wasn't for Tada, because I got into the Tides. I mean, it's an open beta, so I was playing the open beta, and then Tada sends me a text message. He's like, "Yo, Fawaz, are we recording today?" And I'm like, "For God's sake!" But oh my god, it feels so good. So check this out, right? The enemy calls down a Titan. I'm on my foot, so I pull out my anti-Titan gun. I fire a blast in, right?
Right.
Then I fire my grappling hook into the Titan. I pull myself up and I pull the battery out. Then he knocks me off. So then I hook my grappling hook into the Titan. I slide around him on some on some Attack on Titan shit right here.
Nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I get back on his back, throw a grenade in there, and just blow it up. And I'm just walking away from the explosion like, oh my God, I am the man. I love the game is so much fun. Oh, okay, so I'm also like a big nerd when it comes to like just mech shit, right?
Mech shit is awesome.
Yeah, I was a huge Transformers fan growing. Well, I'm still a huge Transformers fan. Like Bastion, ironically enough, was the character that I was most looking forward to playing in Overwatch. Even though from day one I thought it was going to be garbage. It ended up being right, unfortunately, but I digress. So what's this thing called? So like when I'm in my Titan, you call down your Titan, and then I zip into this area and there's two Titans there, and then the mech it tells me, there's an artificial intelligence. It's like warning, you're outnumbered 2-1 right now. Try using this ability. So I'm like, well, shit. And then I pop the ability. It's like, try retreating. And it's giving me tips in the middle of the fight. And oh my God, I was just geeking out the whole time. I felt like Tony Stark, man.
Yeah, nice.
Like, what else you got for me, Jarvis? This game is, as you can tell. Like, I was just playing the demo, and I'm like, no, forget the demo. Even because there's a tutorial in the demo too, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever play Call of Duty Modern Warfare?
Yes.
So in Modern Warfare, there was in the tutorial there's this like practice range that you have to go through.
Oh yeah. That's one of the best parts of the entire game.
Yeah, there's something similar here, except think about that practice range, but adding wall running, sliding, all this stuff, right? So like I spent like a good half hour in the practice range just trying to beat my time, or trying to beat my friend's time. And like that alone, oh my God, I like just shut up and take my money, Respawn.
Yeah, it looks like it's such a big improvement, and they even showed off some of the single player stuff, which did actually kind of surprise me in some ways.
Yeah.
Didn't think that there would be dialogue trees. Now I know that they're simple, obviously, but the fact that there are dialogue trees in this kind of game kind of fascinates me, because I thought
it's pretty weird.
I thought it was gonna be like, okay, my guy's clearly gonna say so and so line, yada yada yada, and I'm not gonna have any control. So I found that kind of interesting, and I like that they're smart in the sense where it's like you land stranded on the world, right? So you get to explore the world, which is it's good in the sense where it's like I'm glad it's not immediately into like cityscapes and just fighting other soldiers right away. I like the fact that you get to see some of the environments, the nature, how you're in that one canyon and you're wall running to get across.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, what were you gonna say?
That's actually a very good point. Is that from the gameplay I saw, it looked more like Halo than Call of Duty. Like the areas were pretty open. The pace was a little slower, and yeah, it was very interesting. And they were like that in terms of the story. They're trying to do like a buddy cop dynamic between the protagonist, Jack Cooper, like the most generic name you could ever come.
Absolutely.
Protagonist Jack Cooper and his mech, PT-7274 or some shit like that. And that's pretty cool because they were like, yeah, there's a little bit of because the robot has like a very, it's a robot, so it's blunt and everything. And then that leads to some of the humor in it. Like there's just one scene where they do like a fastball special where the robot picks up the dude and he tosses him, right? And he's like that this procedure has like a 63% success rate. And the dude is like, wait a minute. What about the other 29% of time? And then the robot is just like very dryly lists all the terrible things that could happen to him.
Yeah.
See, it's just overall like it's from what I've seen, it looks pretty interesting. It looks much slower than the multiplayer though. I'm
just happy it's there, because a lot of people said that the first Titanfall, it's like the multiplayer was great, but just having a single player mode as something to do and something to enjoy, is notable. Like even if it's not like I'm going there for the single player, I'm glad it's at least a competent part of the game. Yeah, an option and a competent option.
Yeah, exactly. They were also like that this isn't a situation where it was like, oh, everybody said that they wish there was a single player, so just tacking on a single player here. And now obviously they would say this, right?
Yeah.
But they were like that, yeah, they're actively trying, like the dialogue, they're actually trying to do something unique with the single player experience, like the dialogue trees, for example.
Right.
The fact that it's not that it's that you have to create areas to highlight the like to highlight the movement and the titans and all that stuff. And yeah, overall, man, I like what I've seen from this game so far. It looks like a lot of fun. One last funny story about the open beta. So like one of my friends, he invites me into a game to play with him, right?
Right.
And then he boots up pilot versus pilot mode. And I'm like, what's the matter with you? Like, who signs into the Titanfall open beta and then picks the one mode that doesn't have Titans in it? Like, I just left. I was like, shit, you can play this mode by yourself. I'm gonna go play something with Titans. But
like, yeah, I guess hats off for having a mode that allows you to do that. But
no. I respect the mode because it helps. Because the game is a lot. It's a lot to take on at first, right? Like my first game, I spent most of the game not in my Titan. I built up my Titan, and then like because I was busy trying to figure out my controls, my Titan got wrecked in like seconds.
Yeah.
And then that was that. I got like one Titan that whole match, right? So yeah, it's like a mode like pilot versus pilot allows like newer players to get used to the pilot aspect of it.
Yeah, you practice basically.
Yeah, you practice there. You practice your movement. You practice your abilities. You practice all that stuff, and then you don't have to be dealing with titans while you're learning this. You have to deal with giant robots trying to beat the shit out of you while you're learning this brand new game and all that stuff. So it's a really smart addition. But yeah, I was like, nope, I don't care. I came here for one thing and one thing only. Okay, But yeah, Titanfall 2, looking forward to it.
Looking
October 28th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, definitely October, I know that.
Hopefully this doesn't get delayed.
Yeah. But considering that they've got a beta and whatnot, I would assume that they're pretty damn close to launch.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But also, we got Harley and Deadshot trailer for Injustice 2.
So
pretty good.
Sorry?
I was just going to say, they look pretty good. I like the fact that Harley has all the different costumes, from, like, the classic costume to the Arkham City costume to her more recent costume.
Yeah.
Like, I like that.
Yeah, this is... Yeah, I completely agree. What's this thing called? I gotta give Blizzard credit. Sorry, not Blizzard. I gotta give DC credit. This was a pretty smart move on their part from like a promotional point of view, because the Suicide Squad movie is currently in cinemas right now, and then they reveal these characters at the same time. I always like it when like companies do that type of promotion.
Yeah.
But overall, Harley looks kind of similar to her Injustice form. She did not have the hyenas in the first Injustice.
No, I could tell that.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see how they're going to like affect her overall gameplay. Deadshot is cool. I wonder if the inclusion of Deadshot means that Deathstroke is not going to be in the game though. Yeah, because like Deathstroke was in the game, and I think Deathstroke is actually a really popular character. I know his Manu Bennett's performance on Arrow really rose his profile.
Yeah. I've always known Deathstroke as Slade, and I fucking love Slade from the Teen Titans.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot. So I don't think Deadshot is going. Now that I'm actually thinking about it, I don't think Deadshot is going to replace Deathstroke. I'll be very surprised if that's the case. But yeah. Overall, the game looks pretty cool. We didn't get a lot of like actual gameplay details on the characters, unfortunately, so we can't really get in depth. But overall, the roster itself is rounding out nicely so far. They have a nice balance. There's always going to be a lot of Batman villains, so that's not it. Although at this point, I don't even look at Harley as a Batman villain anymore.
She's kind of her own thing.
She's kind of her own thing at this point. I mean, like right now they're pushing her as part of the Suicide Squad. She has her standalone comic, so yeah, I don't even look at her as a Batman villain anymore. But yeah, same with Deadshot. Deadshot used to be a Batman villain. Now he's mostly a Suicide Squad character. It's funny how these things change. But yeah. Overall, the roster is rounding out pretty nicely. I'm really interested to see. I mean, obviously, like a lot of the cinematic universe characters are going to end up in this game. It's
Oh,
only good.
absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's only good business. It would
Yeah.
make no sense if that wasn't the case. So, like,
Mhm.
Flash has Flash been confirmed yet? I don't think so.
I no, I think Flash has been confirmed. He's in some
Oh
of the
yeah, yeah, yeah. He was
trailers.
in the, he was in the cinematic trailer.
It's like what? It's like, but they have him in the cinematic trailer and he doesn't show up in the game. Well, that would be freaking bonkers.
But like, what's this thing called? Cyborg. Has Cyborg been confirmed
I
yet?
don't think Cyborg has.
Yeah, yeah. Cyborg's definitely gonna be in there. Oh, Aquaman's already been confirmed.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I wonder if these are the only two members of the Suicide Squad that are gonna make it in. That's the only thing I'm wondering. It's
Yeah.
probably just gonna be the two of them.
Well,
Because
I think they're the most famous ones.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Deathstroke is not always a Suicide Squad character, but yeah, Deadshot and Harley are probably the most famous ones. So yeah, I don't imagine Captain Boomerang is gonna make it in, and I'm not going to. That's the stupidest name I've ever heard.
Oh, Captain
So.
Boomerang's great. Don't knock Captain Boomerang.
But
I love how stupid he is.
but yeah, man, Injustice 2, good shit. Looking forward to seeing more roster revelations, and I'm really excited to see how the roster is going to shape out.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Next on our list, we got Fallout 4 Nuka-Cola trailer. Give it some credit. I did actually like the trailer a lot.
I loved the trailer.
I loved how it was like a happy theme park, like advert basically.
Yeah.
And it had like every area there was like a different kind of tone to the music and the voices.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the juxtaposition between
Oh,
the happy theme park music and all the stuff that's actually happening in the theme park now.
Yeah.
You have mutants in there, you have raiders, you have ghouls.
Mhm.
So yeah, I love that juxtaposition. I mean, it's nothing new. Like video games do this.
Do
Video
this
games
all
do
the
this.
time, but it was a nice like trailer.
Yeah, yeah. It was a very nice trailer. But yeah, I actually wanted to use this more as a platform to talk about just Fallout 4 in general,
Mhm.
right? Because looking at the comment section, a lot of people are not happy with Bethesda in general right now.
Yeah.
Because most of the comments, I didn't even know this was a thing because I really haven't been following Fallouts, to be completely honest. Most of the DLC that they've announced looks like booty, so I haven't really bothered, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, a lot of comments in the comment sections were people talking about, oh, I don't know what everybody's complaining about. It's always funny when you see people talking about how, oh, I don't know what everyone is complaining about, when you don't actually see the complaints, you only see the comments defending it. So it was I found that hilarious, but yeah, it does feel like a lot of people were understandably upset with the content of the season pass. A lot of people felt cheated by the season pass, understandably so, like I said, because now part of me blames them straight up, and like
Oh yeah, no, I
they
totally,
deserve
I
some
agree.
of the blame.
I
Yeah,
agree with that.
because
I always tell people, you know what? If you don't like stuff on a season pass, that was your mistake. Like the season pass is not something that you should commit to completely because you never know what I think the thing that happened with this season pass, though, in particular, is people thought about the Fallout 3 DLC, right? And the Fallout 3 DLC and even the Fallout New Vegas DLC, it was like $10, $10, $10, $10, right?
Yeah.
And each one had a maybe like 2 hour to maybe even 6 hour extra content, depending on what DLC it was, that added to the world and whatnot. And there was a whole little story and whatnot.
Yeah.
But what happened with this season pass is that we got 2 big actual adds to the worlds, a new area to explore. You have the not Point Lookout, god damn it. The Far Harbor DLC, and then you have the Nuka-Cola DLC, right? But in between that, you got a bunch of more feature stuff, which was like the adding of being able to customize your own vaults, more stuff to the workshops, and then finally the robot DLC, which didn't really add a new area. It just sort of added a new mechanic of being able to customize your own robot and bring in your own robot and whatnot. So people who were expecting more DLC like Far Harbor or Nuka World were kind of disappointed when it's most of the in-between stuff was stuff like the vault stuff and the workshop stuff. So,
Yeah, I completely agree. And the other thing I was gonna say was that this is part of the reason why I alleviated some of the blame from the consumer here was for the same reason that you listed there. These people they put their faith in Bethesda, right?
mm-hmm.
Because like Fallout 3 had really good DLC, New Vegas had good DLC, Skyrim had good DLC, Oblivion had good DLC, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is okay, horse armor, not ignoring the
Not
horse
included,
armor.
yeah.
Um, but so these people were like that, these dudes have a good record here.
Mm-hmm.
Then Bethesda came out and they were like, oh, by the way, we're increasing the price of the season pass. So people were like that, okay, if I'm gonna get all the DLC, let me just get the season pass to save me some money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is Bethesda we're talking about here. They always make good DLC. And
Mm-hmm.
all the DLC comes out and it's booty. So like
I don't even think that all the DLC is completely
no no
bad.
no
It's
no
just
no.
it's not what a lot of people wanted.
Wanted.
A lot of people wanted more. They wanted like 4 Far Harbors or
Yeah.
something to that level, and
Yeah,
they didn't
yeah,
even get
and
that.
yeah. So for once, I'm gonna alleviate some of the blame of the consumer here and
Mm-hmm.
shift a lot of it to Bethesda. I feel like Bethesda really dropped the ball here, with the DLC, because you look at Fallout 3 and you look at Skyrim, and okay,
Mm-hmm.
sure, there was that house building DLC that was
Mm-hmm.
kind of whack, but look at
Well,
the
I
two,
enjoyed it, but it was small. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it
yeah, yeah,
wasn't like
yeah.
exactly for everyone. I
Yeah,
get that.
yeah. But you see, that was a nice mix, right? With Skyrim, they had the house building DLC, which was small and it just did minor stuff, and then they had two big expansions, right?
Yeah,
They had
exactly.
the expansion that was kind of like Heart of Stone. It didn't really
Yeah.
add a new area. It just added to the area,
Well, like
and then they had the second
like
big
the
DLC
second BLD is
that
like a
was like
whole,
Blood
yeah.
and Wine, brought in a new area, brand
Mm-hmm.
new story, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, people were expecting something similar. It's actually funny that I make the comparison between The Witcher 3 because this DLC is coming out on the 30th of April, and
Yeah.
the Game of the Year edition of The Witcher is coming out then as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bethesda needs to shape up, man, because you've got Deus Ex coming out next week. Actually,
Yeah.
yeah, you've got Deus Ex coming out next week. You've got CD Projekt Red trying to muscle in on their territory. If
Mm-hmm.
they're not careful, man, because I feel like Bethesda are probably like the last gen anyway. They made some of the best open world, probably the best open world RPGs of last gen. If you look
Yeah.
at like Oblivion, Skyrim, and Fallout 3, they
Yeah.
had like some of the greatest open world RPGs of last gen, but they need to
Mm-hmm.
be careful, man. You've got Mass Effect Andromeda looking really slick.
Mm-hmm.
You've got CD Projekt Red with The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077.
Whenever that comes out.
Yeah, if there's not a lot of you drop like one or two bad games. Well, not bad. You drop one or two like average games back to back, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man, you fall behind. So
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of a thing where it's like I got a lot of enjoyment out of Fallout 4, and I feel like I'm gonna come back eventually. Like I haven't really finished it, and it was mostly just because I realized how much there was in it, and I was kind of like, man, I've got too many JRPGs I need to finish, and that's also a time sink. So it's difficult because I never when I played it I never thought that this was a bad game at all.
yeah,
Like I
yeah,
enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun out of it. I just sort of came to this conclusion that it's like it's sort of a game that I can kind of drop and maybe come back in a couple months and enjoy it again.
yeah.
But like to some people, I totally get it in the sense where this is upsetting because like yeah, you feel cheated on the season pass, and yeah, you could argue that yeah, Bethesda did drop the ball and not release the DLC that a lot of people wanted. And I totally get why you're upset about that, but I'm also like, but also I always stress this: you are taking a gamble when
You
you're
were taking
getting
a
a season
gamble.
pass, no
Yes,
matter who it is. No matter
yes,
who it is, no matter if they're the best developer in the world, you don't know what that DLC is going to be. And you
yes,
have to
yes,
take
yes.
that with a grain of salt.
Yep, my friend. Actually, it's funny. Recently, my friend, I think it was The Witcher 3 that he was planning on getting,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, "Yeah, he's gonna buy The Witcher 3, and then he's gonna buy the season pass." And I was like, "Why? Why would you do that? Why don't you buy The Witcher 3? Make sure you like The Witcher 3, and then buy the season pass. The price of the season pass only goes down, except for this rare case with Bethesda.
In
In
which it
general,
goes up.
the price of the season pass only ever goes down, so
Yeah.
there's no reason to buy the season pass until you're ready. Like Dark Souls 3, I love this game. I absolutely love this game. I'm not buying that season pass until I see what the DLC looks
Oh
like.
yeah, no, totally. I wouldn't buy.
Especially since I was disappointed with Bloodborne's DLC, if I'm being completely honest.
But yeah, that's just. I guess that's our follow for Nuka-Cola stuff.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay,
Now,
I want to give them some credit because even though I was happy with this trailer, boy, is our next topic gonna be what the fuck.
I can't wait. Like when I saw this game, I was like, I am putting this on the podcast just for Tada.
Just for
like,
me.
I don't even. I'm just gonna say my piece, and I'm gonna take a step back and let you talk because I know you have some stuff.
Okay, now this also needs some context. So we didn't talk about this, but there was a tweet a really long while ago, probably a couple months ago, from one of the North American heads at Konami. And they specifically said that we're going to try and win over our hardcore audience again. But they were being very vague about it. And a lot of people responded to this like, and good luck. And I'm like, well, I wonder what they were going to do to appease their hardcore audience. And what they decide to do is release a co-op zombie shooter in the Metal Gear Solid 5 kind of engine and game. And I'm just like, wow, you really nailed what made Metal Gear special. The one thing that Metal Gear had going for it is that it was a weird stealth action game. And you took the most generic thing about that, like the most generic thing you could have possibly added to Metal Gear, you decided to put into this game. And like, I can't even completely fault it because I could see this being fun. I could see this being fun for some people, but it's like, this is not the place to do this. And I think the worst thing about it is that it's almost like Konami taunts us because the way that the Konami logo faded in at the end, I'm like, that might as well just be a giant middle finger. Because it's basically like taking all the stuff that Kojima brought to Metal Gear and saying, fuck that, we're gonna make a co-op zombie shooter. Oh, it's like, Konami, why you do this? Why? I don't know, what did you think of this?
Oh my god, Tanner is too funny. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna say my piece and I'm gonna let Tanner rant. Yeah. And Tanner is like, nope, I'm ranting. But yeah, no, I pretty much agree with you. When they were like it's like a co-op based stealth survival game, I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. Mm-hmm. Then I watched the trailer and it was like crystal zombies, and I'm like, and I'm done.
Yeah, that's fair.
I just can't do it. Zombies? No, I'm good. I just
and you don't. It's not even like here's a good example of how you could do something in this and even make it slightly less painful. Like imagine this is an alternate universe in which a random soldier from Mother Base gets swooped up by a fucking space tornado or some bullshit and then lands in a desert universe, which is not because they needed to reuse the assets from Metal Gear Solid 5, wink wink nudge nudge. And it's like the coolest, like here's a perfect example. You know what was really cool about Undead Nightmare from Red Dead Redemption? So you got to play a zombie game, an open world zombie game from the perspective of John Marston and from the perspective of all the characters. So that was actually really cool. Because you got to see, okay, here's a game that was relatively grounded. Let's see what happens when we take all these characters and throw them into this situation. Which was fun and interesting. But in here, no one from Metal Gear Solid 5 is in this co-op game. It's all generic soldiers. So it's like, even the cool characters like Ocelot or friggin' like the boss, Big Boss himself, or Quiet, none of them are going to be in this game. Just like, what's the point?
What's the money time?
I know the point is money, and Konami is all about that, and their fucking pachinko machines.
But hey, if it makes you feel any better, this game is going to bomb. I can say that with with a lot of confidence because it's just like just look, just go to the YouTube video and look at the dislike bar, look at the
Mm-hmm.
comment section. Like, because I don't think Konami understood just how much the fans loved Kojima. I don't think they fully appreciated just how much. Because even me, I haven't enjoyed a Metal Gear Solid game in over
Mm-hmm.
a decade.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but even me, I was like, I mean, first of all, like people always side with the little guy, right? Because
Right.
like the big corporations have a bad reputation
Right.
just by
Yeah.
being corporations. So people always side with the little guy, but then you have the guy that brought Metal Gear Solid to a lot of people. Like that
Mm-hmm.
was one of the biggest games on PlayStation.
Right.
Like, and this was a console with a lot of big games. So like Kojima always have his people always have a special place in their heart for Kojima, and
Mm-hmm.
then you guys pretty much just treated him like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck.
It's just it puts this into context. I keep thinking about that tweet about we're trying to regain the hardcore audience, and it's like you could have done anything else, and it would have been better. Like some people were interpreting like, oh, we might get like a new Contra or something like that, and maybe that might
That's
be
actually
some
a very good.
that might have been something to win some people back. It wouldn't have been enough to win a lot of people back, but it would have been something.
That's
Whereas
a good point.
this just this just hammers the nail in the coffin even more
Yeah.
because
That's actually.
it's basically like, sorry I keep cutting you off, but it's basically like we kicked Kojima off this Metal Gear Solid game. This game isn't even really his game anymore, and now we're using the assets that we have left and the resources to use his game and butcher out a new piece of content. And the worst part is we don't know. I don't even know if this is going to be a new game or DLC. And that scares me even more if it's going to be specifically DLC, because that means you'd have to buy Metal Gear Solid 5 to play this.
Yeah, they said that it's going to be a standalone game and it's not going to be
oh,
full
okay.
price.
Okay.
Yeah. So they got that
know.
going for them, I
Yeah,
guess.
I guess so. In the hindsight of things, I don't know. I feel like this was a dumb decision on them. Like,
yeah. I think they should have gone to like Contra or Yu-Gi-Oh or something like
or
that. One of
something.
the other neighboring, or like a Castlevania. Do something like that. Be like, yeah, we're still cool guys. And then maybe in a couple of years when the smoke clears, you can be like, oh, and check out, we still own this Metal Gear Solid thing. So,
Yeah.
hey, check out this new Metal Gear Solid game. Yeah, we know it's not Kojima, but give it a chance. And then maybe, but yeah, the first game after Kojima leaves that they announced is a brand new Metal Gear Solid game.
It was a co-op zombie shooter.
Yeah, this was just, well, I
Man.
mean, this doesn't surprise me. These are the guys that brought us the E3 2010 press conference. So
yeah. I guess no one should be surprised at this point.
no one should be surprised at anything shitty coming out of Konami. But anyway, I think that's enough time.
I think we covered. And then let's wrap up on some more positive stuff. We got a trailer for the new Overwatch map and a new short, The Last Bastion, for Overwatch.
Yeah. So the map is I'm not gonna try to pronounce it. It's some German name, Eichenwald or something like that. I say I'm not gonna try to pronounce it, and I try to pronounce it. It's there's some pretty interesting lore behind the map. It was the scene of a battle between the Bastions, because during the Omnic crisis, the Bastion units, they attacked this city, and then like a group of whatever group Reinhardt is a part of, a group of them, they grouped together and they like held off. They held off the Bastions long enough for some other group to like. I mean, it's pretty much 300.
Yeah,
let's just
basically.
go with that.
Yeah. Basically, it's Overwatch version of 300.
Yeah, and the cool thing about the map is that you can see, you see the destruction. Like at the very end of the map, you see probably one of Reinhardt's superiors. He's dead. He's sitting on like
On a throne. He looks like a fucking badass.
Yeah, with like grass growing on him and all. It was very, very Dark Souls-esque in the way the background itself told the story, because even before they were like that, oh, this is what happened here, you could just tell. I mean, you're looking around the map and you see like overgrown Bastion bodies all over the place, and then you see that dead Reinhardt or whatever these things are. at the end, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So that's what happened. One cool thing though is that they're giving that skin. It's going to be added to the game for Reinhardt.
Oh, nice,
Yeah,
nice.
with the when the map comes in early September, we're gonna get that Reinhardt skin as well. So that was pretty awesome. Overall, I the map looks awesome. I haven't seen any like proper gameplay on it yet, but it uses a lot of verticality. So
Yeah, there is
maybe
that.
it'll
I also really like that when you're moving the payload and you get to the castle, it actually breaks down the gate. I think that's
yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna make so many Lord of the Rings
All
references
right.
when I'm playing
You
Payload
will
on
stand your ground.
that. Oh my god, all day. And then
All day.
when I'm on defense and this is our last stand, we're standing at the door. They're about to break the door
Yeah.
down, and I'm just looking left and right, and I make that little speech from Return of the King. I can't remember the name. I can't remember the speech, but yeah, that Aragorn makes at the end of the Return of the King.
Oh,
But yeah,
it is
yeah,
not this day. This
it
day
is
we
not
fight.
insane. Exactly. There we go. Oh my god, I can't even wait. But overall, the map looks pretty cool. The skin looks pretty cool. But the quote unquote highlight of their Gamescom press conference was the last Bastion short. So, would you like to go first, Tanner?
Sure. I thought it was good. Like, I kinda had a theory of what it was going to be, and it kind of sort of went into what I thought it was going to be. Like, it didn't really surprise me that much, where I was like, okay, Bastion's probably going to be in the woods because we've seen the overgrown skin, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, he's going to wake up, he's going to be like a happy robot, he's going to become friends with the bird, and then something's going to happen, and he's going to remember the dark times, and then he's probably going to go back to nature or whatnot. And that's basically what happened. I really did like the anime. The animation was breathtaking. Like, Blizzard's always amazing with this. For some reason, I was really impressed with how they animated the moss. Like, for some reason, the moss really impressed me. Like, it looked fucking ridiculously real. I really like that. But if I had to be particular, the best part of the entire short was the flashback to the war, in which you saw the Omnics fighting multiple Reinhardts. And it's like, oh, I want to see an animated short of that. I just want to see a battle of, like, multiple guys in Reinhardt armor fighting off Omnics. And it's like, if only that lasted a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought the short was good. I don't think it was like the best short out of the bunch, but I still think it was pretty solid.
Yeah, I didn't like it, to be completely honest. Pretty much for the reasons that you listed. It was just extraordinary. It was really, really, really predictable.
It was, that's the biggest downside of it.
Yeah, and I understand what they were going for. They're trying to go for something a little more emotional with this, right? They were trying to do a little bit like, they're trying to do their inner pick. This is their equivalent of like a Wall-E, right? Because there's no dialogue. There's no dialogue in the whole thing. It just be boops. And
well, I mean, when you're doing a character like Bastion, that's the only route you can go.
But I think you could have had other characters in it.
Well, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. There's no dialogue in it at all, and I'm not criticizing them for it. Don't misunderstand. I'm just saying that that was what they were trying to go for. I understand that, but it was just kind of boring. It was like he woke up and then he was friends with the bird. And then he got his like little PTSD flashback when he heard the woodpecker. And then he goes and he checks the other Bastion and he's like, oh shit, I'm actually a killing machine.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh wait, I don't want to be a killing machine anymore, which is pretty cool. Like I like the revelation, right? And I like the idea that Bastion, I like the theme because Bastion is a robot that's designed for one thing and one thing only. But eventually he decided he made a choice.
Be something else. Yeah.
Yeah, he made a choice to no longer be a killer, and I actually really like that. And it fits into the overall themes because that's the difference between like Bastion and Zenyatta. Is that Zenyatta? What's this thing called? He opened up his mind, right, and he became he got the ability to think. I can't remember the exact word for it, right? But Zenyatta is no longer he's not just a robot anymore, right?
He's transcended basically.
Thank you. And yeah, like this short was it was Bastion taking a step in that direction. But yeah, like you said, man, it just wasn't anything really happening.
I think it would have been fine as a short, but as an Overwatch short, you kind of leave it a little bit disappointed because you enjoy seeing that action. You enjoy seeing that Blizzard action, the animated
Yeah.
stuff. Like you think of like the Dragon short, or
Oh
the
my god.
Alive short, or
Oh
like
my.
or the Winston short, and
Oh my
it
god.
and it's like there's not a whole lot of action in this one other than the flashback to the troubles.
Yeah.
So I can totally understand how you like a lot of people came away a little bit disappointed, and I totally get that. I totally.
And for
Get
me, I'm like, if you were going to go with more action, right?
that.
Then at least give us something that had like some kind of revelations to it, or something,
Mm-hmm.
just some because like the 76 short, there was no like everybody was hoping that they'd reveal a new character in the 76 short, and that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But the short itself was pretty cool. It was cool seeing him do his thing, seeing him go all tactical visor activated, seeing him beat that guy unconscious with a pinata. It was
Yeah.
all pretty cool. Same with the Dragon Short. The Dragon Short didn't reveal anything we didn't know. We all knew that,
We
Genji
all could guess what happened between Genji and Yasuo.
and Hanzo. I mean,
Goddamn.
we all knew all of that. But then, like, seeing them fight, seeing Genji like do the Dragon Blade thing, like that was all. There was spectacle, right?
Hmm.
So like, you didn't give us spectacle with the Bastion Short, but then you also didn't give us anything to really talk about. It was weird though because I watched the live stream and then the host girl,
Mm-hmm.
she got so emotional. Like she loves this short so much it made me uncomfortable because I was like, is she pretending? This can't actually be real. Because I was so underwhelmed by it. Like when the short finished, she was like that. That she promised the stage producer she would have. That the stage producer was like that. Don't you go up there and start crying. But she was like that. Yo, I can't make any promises after watching that. Cry.
I don't know. I've seen people cry for less, and
this is true. And yeah, when they finished the short, she was like, "Oh, can we watch it again?" And she really wants to watch. I know, like here's the thing: is that she looked like she was genuinely like she genuinely.
Like I'm not gonna knock anyone for like liking
obviously,
the short.
Yeah.
Like it's like I'm not gonna ruin your fun. Like if you.
It just caught me off guard because
Yeah.
I thought the short was so underwhelming, and then the short finishes and she's fighting back tears, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Did we watch the same short?"
Well, also it's also like some people who haven't been, I like to brag that I watch a lot of shit. Like I watch a lot of, especially animation in particular.
Yeah.
So I've seen this story done before, and in some ways I've seen it done better. So it's like it didn't really surprise me, but I was like, okay, I see what they were going for though.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I totally know what you mean. I think it was out of all of the shorts that they've released, this is definitely the weakest. Not terrible, just the weakest for sure. But now I think we gotta wrap things up. Oh boy, we got our question of the day. It's from the wonderful J Streets. Okay, guys, time. Oh, this maniacal laughter is very ominous. Okay, guys, time to put your objective hats. I'm looking at you, Tanner, aka Tan the Man. LOL. GG. Would Nintendo be more successful, console-wise, if they published for Sony and Microsoft? Or Sony... is that Sony and Microsoft, or Sony or Microsoft? I don't know.
I don't think it really matters.
I guess you probably want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
I don't really think it would help them that much. Like, I don't think it would... I think if anything... it would limit them.
Yeah.
I think it would. Like my think is my mind thinks, okay, they would try and publish games for Microsoft. Guess what? They wouldn't be able to publish the kind of games that they want to make for Microsoft. Because they would pitch something like Splatoon, and then Microsoft would be, what the fuck is this? And then Splatoon wouldn't have happened.
Well, I mean, I don't. Because I mean, Microsoft doesn't have to okay games that like you don't. They don't have to because I don't think he's saying that they should become they should get consumed by Microsoft, right? I think he's saying more that do we think they should go the way of Sega, become a third-party studio making games for Microsoft and Sony?
Well, look how well that went for Sega. Like. I don't think there's really been that many good games for Sega in a really long time. So, I don't know. Like, the idea is interesting though, for sure. Like, you think that they release games as like a third party, as like for example like Sega, and they end up on consoles like the PS4. But I also feel like Nintendo's best strengths are like they're games that everyone can play, right? And I feel like when I think of a like a console like the PS4 or like the Xbox One, it's more of a teen to M-rated audience. Like that's the thing, like for sure. Like there are E-rated games on these consoles, don't get me wrong, but I still think that these audiences for like the PS4 and the Xbox One are way more into the T to M range than it is to like the E to T.
Yeah.
So honestly, like even if they made like these rated E games and rate like for these consoles, I don't even know if they would be that successful. Like I don't know. Like they might be, and it could be like a little sprinkle to add to the console itself.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess I've always liked the idea of like Nintendo being on the sidelines. Like I always think of the GIFs where it's like Sony and Microsoft beating the shit out of each other, and then Nintendo just sort of walks by them and on like a Vespa or something like that. And like I don't know. Like it definitely would be interesting though. I don't know if it necessarily would make things better. I don't think it would. I really don't think it would make things better overall. I guess that's my response to that.
Okay.
What do you think that would happen if they did
Okay,
this?
so it's weird because I agree with you, but then I disagree with you at the same time.
Okay.
I do agree. I don't think it would make things better, but the reason I disagree with the reason, right?
Okay.
I don't think if Nintendo, I think you are underestimating the people who own PS4s and Xbox Ones with this claim that if Nintendo made like Nintendo games for these consoles, they wouldn't sell well. We've seen how feverishly people have been asking for the return of Crash Bandicoot on the PS4.
Okay.
Sure, the Xbox One has a reputation for marketing it more towards idiots, but I feel like no matter what console,
well, like if I had to choose, definitely Sony over Microsoft for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, like that's besides the point, though.
Yeah, I guess so.
I feel like I don't think no matter what console it is on, The Legend of Zelda and Metroid Prime would have always sold well. I honestly, I genuinely believe that the good games sell. I don't think I've never subscribed to this concept that that like Xbox gamers only buy specific games and PlayStation gamers only buy specific games. I've never subscribed to this concept. There are some games that yes, they've developed more of a fan base on certain consoles, like Call of Duty, for example. It has a bigger fan base on the Xbox. This is just a simple fact. The last Call of Duty sold more on the Xbox, despite there being more PS4s than Xboxes on the market, and Sony having like an exclusive deal with Activision, right? So this is just a simple fact right there. But I feel like in general, if Nintendo decided to publish like Metroid and all these games on third-party consoles, I feel like they still sell well. The only reason why they might not sell well is because some people would just be against the idea in principle alone. They're like, I do not like the idea of playing Mario on anything that isn't a Nintendo console.
Yeah.
That's the only situation where I see that not working. Now, the reason why I agree with you is that I feel like as bad as Nintendo's consoles have been doing, the idea of them going the way of Sega, first of all, like you said, it didn't work out for Sega, it didn't work out for Atari. Like, I'm yet to find a single console developer who went on to just making games that it worked out for. I'm pretty sure there's someone out there that I can't think of off the top of my head. But yeah, it didn't work out for Sega, it didn't work out for Atari. But then the other issue is that Nintendo is not in, their console market sucks. Like, let's just, I think they're struggling in the console market. But the DS actually prints money. I joke about this a lot, but I guarantee you that console genuinely prints out money. So Nintendo is not, Nintendo going the way of Sega would mean that they pretty much give up the DS.
They give up the handheld, and I think that's their strongest thing at the moment is they are fucking kings at the handheld market. And evil people say that but phones are becoming more popular every single day. I'm like, they are the kings of the handheld market that actually have games that aren't completely shit. So, yeah, I've always applauded them for that, and that would kind of remove them for that.
Yeah.
Although you could argue, like, wouldn't it be nuts? This is kind of a digression, but wouldn't it be nuts if, like, Nintendo made games for the PlayStation Vita?
Oh my God. Yeah, like if somehow Sony consumed Nintendo, and then Nintendo made games for the Vita and the PS4, that is actually, I don't know how that would work out. On paper, it seems like it would work out well for them. I mean, no, I don't think so, because then you lose creative control.
Yeah,
you know?
that is
If they
true.
actually become owned by Sony, then no, I don't agree with that, because they will lose creative control if Sony actually buys them out, right?
Yeah.
So no, I feel like what's best for Nintendo right now is making a console that isn't shit. If Nintendo just does that, I think they're good, because, like I said, man, Nintendo fans are very, 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 very loyal. Like, they're probably the most loyal of the big three. Nintendo fans are extremely loyal. All they want, like, there are millions of people out there. Maybe I'm naive, maybe I'm still living in the past, but I genuinely think that there's millions of people out there that just want Nintendo to give them a good console, and they'll go out and buy it.
Yeah.
But Nintendo are like that. No, we don't want to give you a good console. We want to give you gimmicks. So that, like, I feel like Nintendo is their own worst enemy right now. If they can just move past this ridiculous notion of, peripheral selling consoles as opposed to video games, I think they'll be good. They released, like I said a couple podcasts ago, release a console that has third-party support, and I think they'll be fine. I don't think they're in, like, dire straits. This isn't Sega here.
Yeah,
however, if they come out and give us the Sega Genesis, that would be like, what, 3 straight consoles that are shit from Nintendo, then we might. I mean, like, to be fair, unlike Sega, they have the DS to fall back on, right?
And that's the thing is that, like, we talked about this in our other podcast, is that the future, if it does become true, they are combining their console and their 3D their portable market, and that will be interesting to see if that is successful, which I do think it would be successful, because most of their strengths at the moment are in their portable market. So, but it will be interesting. But honestly, back to the main question at point, I don't really think it would make Nintendo more successful. It's an interesting thought, but I don't think this is what Nintendo needs to do to become more successful.
Yes, I completely agree.
All right. Cool. But yeah, no, great question, Jay Streets. We put our hats on. I hope that answer sufficed. It wasn't a 20-minute rant like last time, so that's a plus. But anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And if you leave a comment in the comment section, we'll make sure to answer in the next podcast. And as always, this was your host, William Liberty, and...
Cool.